Hello and welcome back to the Blue North. Today I'd like to talk about something that's happened recently that has still got me in a bit of a shocked state. Chris Cuomo has come out and admitted some things that we on the right have believed for a long time. Things that we've been calling for from the media for a long time. We were saying for a long time, and Donald Trump has coined the phrase fake news. Well, Chris Cuomo has come out and pretty much admitted that this is right. Chris Cuomo said that he doesn't get any fulfillment from his job. He doesn't enjoy his job. Why doesn't he enjoy his job? Because he feels that they peddle ridiculousness. That's a huge statement all on its own. When you're admitting that you peddle ridiculousness at your channel, you basically are agreeing and saying that everybody at your station is peddling ridiculousness, that you don't enjoy any aspect of your job because of it. Everybody has the same agenda at CNN and at MSNBC. So for somebody like Chris Cuomo to come out and say something like he's peddling ridiculousness to the people and that he cannot do it any longer or he doesn't get any enjoyment. He didn't say he wasn't going to do it, but he doesn't get any enjoyment from it. Well, that's huge. But he goes on to further say that the Democrats come on, and he's tired of the Democrats coming on and talking about things that they themselves don't believe. Well, he didn't just call out the people on the left. He didn't just say left-leaning people. He called the Democrat Party out on this themselves. The Democrat Party, when the Democrats come on and we talk about things that they themselves don't believe. Well, this is an election year. And someone like Chris Cuomo coming out and saying that you know we're doing a dishonest thing to the American people. We're peddling ridiculousness. We're telling people lies. We're telling people things that aren't true. We're telling people things that even the Democrats themselves know that aren't true. Maybe when he interviewed his brother, Governor Cuomo, they had a chat. Maybe they had some time to reflect. Maybe they had some time to talk about real things that are going on. Governor Cuomo he's totally involved in helping the people in his state get over this COVID-19. He's entrusted to protect the people of his state. He's working with Donald Trump. Sees how hard Donald Trump is working. Maybe because of that close relationship between Cuomo and Trump right now, working to help and get things, going in a positive way, maybe through all that, maybe Chris has had an insight from someone like his brother saying, you know what, this president is doing great things. Maybe you should stop working against him so hard at your business, at your job. Maybe you should start telling the truth. And maybe that's what's had such an impact on Chris's life in the last little bit, because he's been home fighting this COVID-19 himself. He has all kinds of ideas of how to get over it. He had a pretty good little video that he put out talking about how this disease wants you to give up, wants you to just lay down and let it take control. You have to get up, force it out of your lungs. Maybe through all of this, Chris has had an epiphany and he's seen that what he does is not doing anybody a service. It's actually a disservice. He's actually hurting the American people by what he's doing. Maybe by seeing it, his brother is working hard to help the people. Maybe he realizes that there's more to life than sitting behind a desk and making a big paycheck and telling people lies. Well, I take my hat off to Chris, because it's a pretty gutsy move to come out and say that your station is nothing but liars, basically, is what he's saying. That nobody believes what the Democrats are saying, not even the Democrats themselves. In an election year, when you work for CNN, who basically supports the Democrat Party through and through, when you come out and make such statements saying that you don't believe that they even believe what they're saying, that's huge. That will be used by the right. and it should be. That's a huge statement, and it's important that the American people hear that message, because this is one of the guys that's been propagating this kind of stuff for years. So what does that mean moving forward? It means that Chris probably won't be working at CNN much. He probably won't be there long, and if what he said offends anybody there, he'll want to move on just so he doesn't have to face the music. But where will he go? Will he go to Fox News? Well, maybe they'll pick him up. Maybe they'll give him a chance to use his skills and everything that he has. He's good at his job if he would just say the truth. So maybe Fox News can use a guy like that. Maybe Fox News can give him a spot and use him. Maybe he'll get into politics with his brother. He should have something coming his way. He's a very intelligent man, well-spoken, articulate. But now that he's going to eventually see the light, it's going to hurt him in a political sense if he's continuously telling lies and knowing they're lies. This basically is, these statements are basically admitting that you helped work against things that were better for the American people. If you run for the Democrat Party, you've just outed them, and you've really tore them apart by saying that they don't believe what they're saying either. So I doubt there'll be an open door and a welcome mat put out for Chris Cuomo in the Democrat Party. I doubt that the Republicans will take him on because of all the years of him being on CNN and really propagating a lot of false stories against the Republicans themselves. So where does he go from here? These admissions that he's just put out there for the whole world to hear, where does he go with them? Does he go to Fox News and hope that he's found a new light and he's going to tell the truth and he wants to work for the American people? Perhaps. That would be the best angle for him, I think. I don't think there was many other choices for him. I don't think that either party really wants him politically. He could run as an independent. He could make his own TV station, maybe. I don't know. I think, but the truth is out there. I think that he's finally said what needs to be said from someone within the CNN, MSNBC family. I think that somebody from the mainstream media, the left-leaning mainstream media, finally coming out and saying the things that we've all known for so long is a good thing. But I wonder what it means for Chris Cuomo. Does he take it back when he realizes that there are no welcome mats being put out for you now? Neither party are going to want you, and CNN's probably not going to want you, and Fox News might want you. It's a tough road ahead of Chris Cuomo. So I really take my hat off that he came out and said these things. To really, you outed the Democrats for not believing their own BS is a very important thing during an election year. It's basically something that Donald Trump and his team should use and say that even Chris Cuomo knows that this has all been lies and propagated. And it's a huge moment in the, I guess, in an election year. It's a huge thing. It's a win for the American people. It's a huge win for the American people. Something I've been calling on for a long time is more regulations and more rules for the mainstream media to force them to have to tell the truth or suffer the consequences. Maybe a 3 strikes and you're out rule. Maybe you lose your privileges as a member of the free press. Maybe your station like CNN, maybe they get hefty fines when you basically propagate for one party over the other and twist and turn everything so that it's something that nobody even believes. Coming out and saying that you can't do this any longer is a very important, I think it's a huge thing of importance, because I couldn't do it. I could not sit behind a desk in front of a camera and tell people things that I know are just not true. I couldn't sit behind my desk, look the camera in the face, and tell every household in America, in Canada, and wherever else that the things that are going on are all Donald Trump's fault, or that it's all because the Republicans want this and it's not good for the American people. But telling everybody that someone like Joe Biden, who's in the late stages, really, I think, my gosh, the man's losing his mind. He had an interview today where him and his wife were talking. He had no idea where he was going. And at one point, while he was hemming and hawing and trying to buy himself some time, his wife looked over at him and went, "Yep, he hasn't said anything." So she's a doctor, but not a doctor, like not a medical doctor. She's a professor, I believe. But still, you must you must be able to see the decline in your own husband. You must. So sitting beside him was I think it was a choice. She was there to help him, but she wasn't helping him, because there is no help for someone that's lost and can't remember what they're saying or where they're going with a thought. He stumbled and stammered, and he was just trying to buy himself time until his mind caught on to where he was trying to go, and it never did. It never caught on. So sitting behind the desk and looking the camera in the face and telling everybody in America that this is the man that they need to vote for, I don't know how he does it. I wouldn't be able to do it. And I don't know how somebody like Anderson Cooper and Jake Tapper and Wolf Blitzer, and I don't know how any of these people do it, but they do, day in and day out. So somebody that doesn't even know where they're going in a small conversation, that's the best leader. Not someone that's proven to be the best thing for your country in the last 20 years. Not only do they tell these lies, they try to bring up stuff that is false. They make things up. Case in point, Nick Sandmann. Because he wore a MAGA hat, they had the tape that showcased that this kid was the only one on Capitol Hill that day that acted appropriate, that acted like a decent human being. So in their bias and their hatred for all things conservative and Republican and Donald Trump, they took a tape of a kid in high school and they made that kid the enemy of the entire country. Because he had that hat on, they said he was there and he was mocking the protester and he was doing this. They had the full tape. They knew what actually happened. So in their attempt to make Nick Sandmann look bad for ratings and to help push the Democrats against Donald Trump and his Republicans, they ended up having to pay Nick Sandmann. He sued them for $255 million. They settled out of court, but I doubt they settled for a sandwich. They probably settled for millions and millions of dollars. So in your attempt to make money, it's actually cost you money. But not only that, you end up making the kid with the MAGA hat look like he's the most decent human being that was on Capitol Hill that day. So out of all the high school kids and out of the native protesters and the other groups that were there chanting hatred and all these other things that were going on, the only person that showed any decency, credibility, and any kind of class was the guy wearing the Make America Great hat. So you failed at what you were trying to do. Why? Because you're trying to peddle nonsense and ridiculousness to the American people. Not only that, you're trying to help the Democrats. Well, they don't believe in what they're saying either. That's maybe why Joe Biden's having such a hard time coming up with something to say. Maybe that's why he loses his train of thought, because it's not something that he even believes. He doesn't even know where he's going because he forgets what he's supposed to be saying, because it's not an authentic thought in his own head. See, the problem with our journalists right now is they're not journalists. Back when I was younger and I started getting into politics, I remember it was right around the time that Ronald Reagan was shot. And there was moments there where during the American war with Beirut, there was it was captivating to me. Those journalists went there, put their life on the line because it was something that they felt fulfilled doing. That what they were reporting was the fulfillment in itself. Reporting the truth to the American people, showing them what was really going on. That isn't what's going on anymore. That doesn't happen. Everything has an agenda. And we see that when people like Chris Cuomo are tired of doing it. So maybe this will be a time where we usher in new standards for journalism. Maybe we'll get back to actually having journalism and journalists. Maybe with Chris Cuomo leading the way, we'll see others follow. Hopefully somebody gets rid of Rachel Maddow and all of her ridiculousness that she peddles, telling people that the comfort and the mercy aren't going to be where they're supposed to be or needed, and it's just fear and dread and anti-Trump and anti-Republican, even though she knows it's not true and that they're going to be there. They're on their way. But it doesn't matter. Same with the taxes, when she tried to say that the taxes that Donald Trump paid weren't enough, was going to showcase it. And all of the Mueller report that they did. It must be very difficult to go to work every day and say that the walls are closing in and that it's finally going to happen, and the bombshell today. You say the same things over and over again just to be proven wrong. It must be a very difficult thing to do. And Chris Cuomo has obviously had his fill of it. But I like that he didn't just go out on his own terms saying nothing. He went out on his own terms saying that it's the Democrats that are saying things that they don't believe. Now, he hasn't gone out. I shouldn't say that he's gone out on his own terms, but I kind of believe that he's really put a target on his back by saying things against the Democrats and against what he does at CNN. He paints a target on every CNN anchor, every reporter, everybody that works at CNN. He's painted a target on. He's painted a target on the Democrats, a huge one on Joe Biden. Not only is Biden painting a target on himself by being unable to answer questions, but he doesn't know where he's going when he speaks. Another thing about Joe Biden and the mainstream media is why nobody's calling him on his sexual assault allegation. Maybe Chris Cuomo's tired of having to cover for a lot of these Democrats, like Keith Ellison, who did the same thing, but then try to hang Justice Kavanaugh when there was no proof. And it turned out that it was looking more and more like a Democrat ploy the whole time. So maybe there's a lot of things that have really led to Chris saying, okay, you know what? I'm out. I'm done. I can't do it anymore. Well, thankfully it's happened. And I hope more people follow his lead. And I hope that more people understand that this is something that the American people deserve, is truth. Stop peddling the ridiculousness. Stop covering for Democrats that don't believe their own BS when they're going on your show and saying they're going to do this for the American people, or Donald Trump is not doing this for the American people. Stop that. Get back to doing the job that you wanted to do, being a journalist. Get back to telling the truth. Just report the truth. You cannot get in trouble for that. Well, you can if you work at CNN. So hopefully Chris is done over there and that we don't see a resurgence in his ridiculousness and his Democrat talking points that nobody believes. It's going to be pretty hard for him to go on camera now and say things against Donald Trump when he's already admitted that nobody on the left believes what they're saying and that he himself peddles ridiculousness. Well, we'll see what's going to happen. I'll keep my eye on things here at the Blue North. So stay tuned for more podcasts.